This video will go over 5 mistakes that beginner umpires make. Whether you're a youth umpire or an adult umpire, usually one of these things will pose an issue for you when you're first starting out umpiring. So let's go through them. The first thing is first impressions. What is the first thing that people think when they see you, meet you, and when you arrive at the baseball field? A lot of this depends solely on showing up. Are you there on time 15 minutes before the game ready to go on the field? And are you wearing the proper uniform? How coaches, players, and fans see you will depend on the proper uniform and whether or not you look the part of the umpire as you're officiating the game. This should be something you're paying attention to even before the season begins. Ordering the proper gear and uniform and making sure that you have them before your first game of the year and as the season goes on. One of the other components of first impressions is a good pregame meeting. We've already done a video on how to have a good pregame meeting, but having a good pregame meeting will set up your interactions with the coaches as well as establish a relationship with the teams before the game. You want this to be a rock-solid meeting where you can be succinct, professional, and demonstrate that you are in control of the game. The second thing that beginner umpires usually have an issue with is confidence and volume. Your strike calls, your out calls, your safe calls should all be done with confidence and loud enough for everyone on the field to hear. One of the things we tell our officials is that we should be able to hear these calls from the back fence of the field. If I'm standing in the outfield fence, I want to know when a pitch is a strike and out is an out and safe is safe. There's also an element of selling a call. You want to make people believe that you know exactly what you saw. And this plays into the confidence in your calls. When the call is close, you may need to emphasize it to a new degree and with a new volume in order to really sell that that's what you know happened. The way that you call a bang bang play at first will be totally different than the way that you call an out by 10 feet or more. Everyone on the field knows he's out in one of those cases, and in the other, you have to tell them exactly what you saw and make them believe it. These sorts of close calls you want to make with a new level of volume and a new level of emphasis. The other part of this is that you're always working towards good, simple mechanics. You want these to be loud and simple so that you can communicate effectively what you're calling on the field. But you also want to make your mechanics simple and that you don't want to do too much so that it distracts from your call and the call that you're making, but also enough that you're still looking the part of a good umpire. We already talked about this a little bit in first impressions, but another thing that beginning umpires struggle with is their uniform. Much of this is simply from ignorance of officials not knowing where to get or what the official uniform consists of. The official uniform is a hat, mask, umpire shirt with a chest protector, black belt with ball bag, indicator, brush, gray umpire pants, shin guards, and black umpire shoes. It's also helpful throughout the season to check your uniform for holes, places where it might need to be patched or sewn, and to make sure that your umpire pants aren't becoming unhemmed. Most times when you purchase umpire pants, they'll come unhemmed and you'll need to hem them yourself. Make sure that this isn't coming apart throughout the season as you do more and more games. Beginning umpires also struggle with positioning. Where are they supposed to stand and where are they supposed to move on plays? One of the biggest issues is in the slot. There's a perfect balance of being in the slot where you want to be as close to the catcher as possible so that you can see the entire strike zone while not being on top of them where you're going to interfere with a catch or throw. You also want to find the spot between the batter and the catcher where you have the most amount of vision while still being protected from any foul balls or wayward pitches. In single umpire games, you often have to plan ahead of where you're going to exit from the slot in order to make a call on the field. A good guide to this is imagining a smaller diamond in the middle of the baseball diamond. From here you can move and cheat towards any base where there might be a play while not being so far from the other places that if the play changes or adapts, you won't be there to make the call. When a ball is put in play, simply exit the catcher left and start walking towards the middle of the field and then move towards where the play is going to be. For fair and foul, you want to line up with the fair and foul lines so that you can clearly see if a ball lands in fair territory or if it lands in foul territory. This also gives you a good vantage on ground balls going down the lines to see where they cross the line and if they go over a base. During these plays on the bases, umpires usually have a difficult time knowing where to look. You always want to be following the ball. You never want to be staring down the bag. Always watch the ball travel into the mitt, and as it's doing that, you can look at the bag and see if the runner's foot was there. But you never want to leave your vision on the bag as you're going to miss other plays and other adaptations that the play might take. One of the last and most important things that beginning umpires struggle with is timing. When to make the call and how long to wait in order to let the play register before rendering a decision. This is extremely important in the beginning of the season when you're establishing a good rhythm that might carry through the rest of your games. On pitches, make sure that the ball hits the mitt, you pause, you let it register, and then you make the call. You don't want to be making calls too quick while the ball is still traveling, and you definitely don't want to miss calls because you've been rendering them incorrectly because of your timing. When you're on the bases, you want to look for voluntary release. You don't want to call safe or out until you know exactly where the baseball is and whether or not the player has a secure grip on it. As umpires, we should always be looking for ways that we can get better at our craft and do better in our sports, and hopefully this video will help you ask a few questions in order to look at where you can improve for the coming baseball season. To see more content like this video and subscribe to our channel so that you'll be alerted when more content comes out.